but he was not very sensitive on such points, and recovered himself speedily. 'Well, come in,' he said after a little consideration. 'Here, sit down, and I'll teach you how to play.'
'Oh, I dursn't do it,' rejoined the small servant. 'Miss Sally 'ud kill me if she knowed I'd come up here.'
'Have you got a fire downstairs?' said Dick.
'A very little one,'
replied the small servant. 'Miss Sally couldn't kill me if she knowed I went down there, so I'll come,' said Richard, putting the cards into his pocket. 'Why, how thin you are! What do you mean by it?'
'It ain't my fault.'
'Could you eat any bread and meat?' said Dick, taking down his hat. 'Yes. Ah, I thought so. Did you ever taste beer?'
'I had a sip of it once,'
said the small servant. 'Here's a state of things!' cried Mr Swiveller, raising his eyes to the ceiling. 'She never tasted it. It can't be tasted in a sip. Why, how old are you?'
'I don't know.'
Mr Swiveller opened his eyes very wide, and appeared thoughtful for a moment. Then, bidding the child mind the door until he came back, vanished straight away. Presently he returned, followed by the boy from the public house, who bore in one hand a plate of bread and beef, and in the other a great pot filled with some very fragrant compound, which sent forth a grateful steam, and was indeed choice purl, made after a particular recipe which Mr Swiveller had imparted to the landlord, at a period when he was deep in his books and desirous to conciliate his friendship. Relieving the boy of his burden at the door, and charging his little companion to fasten it to prevent surprise, Mr Swiveller followed her into the kitchen. 'There,' said Richard, putting the plate before her. 'First of all, clear that off, and then you'll see what's next.' The small servant needed no second bidding, and the plate was soon empty. 'Next,' said Dick, handing the purl, 'take a pull at that, but moderate your transports, you know, for you're not used to it. Well, is it good?'
'Ooh, isn't it?'
said the small servant. Mr Swiveller appeared gratified beyond all expression by this reply, and took a long draught himself, steadfastly regarding his companion while he did so. These preliminaries disposed of, he applied himself to teaching her the game, which she soon learnt tolerably well, being both sharp-witted and cunning. 'Now,' said Mr Swiveller, putting 2 sixpences into a saucer, and trimming the wretched candle when the cards had been cut and dealt, 'those are the stakes. If you win, you get 'em all. If I win, I get 'em. To make it seem more real and pleasant, I shall call you the Marchioness. Do you hear?' The small servant nodded. 'Then, Marchioness,' said Mr Swiveller, 'fire away.' The Marchioness, holding her cards very tight in both hands, considered which to play, and Mr Swiveller, assuming the gay and fashionable air which such society required, took another pull at the tankard and waited for her lead. Chapter 57